Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is Jay from Team DMA coming at you again with another video. And this is, I believe, it's review number 3 or 4. I'll be double checking on my videos, but I've been working together with Yummy Mike for quite some days, I would say weeks. And we were discussing like a Dark Magician profile for locals. Like, in case you didn't know, I've participated in somewhere around 15 to 20 different players' decks. And so far, out of all the 15, 3 people won their locals, and I gave them a mystery pack for free. And then the rest of them, most of them reached second place. So a lot of those players didn't want to finish switching their cards to like win their locals, because a lot of players are mainly playing cards they like instead of cards that win, you know. But the people that did work with me, they ended up taking first place, and like I said, they won their mystery pack, and Yami Mike will be no exception. So I was with him before he started this deck, and I was discussing to him about the deck, and I'm sure he's seen the channel, and he bought one of the mystery packs, and I gave him a lot of free cards inside that I didn't have to, but I just wanted him to have those cards. But it seems like he has more than enough to get any card. So if he wins his locals, I'll be giving him, like I said, a mystery pack. It's gonna have like 3 packs. He's gonna choose the pack. So people are wondering, so what's the mystery? The mystery will be the loose cards. They're going to be cards that he's going to be able to put in his into his deck. But the whole pack is gonna be free. It's about a $30 value. I don't want to do like a $300 or $3,000 value, because that's way too much for your locals. But definitely supporting Yummy Mike, and we're going to be reviewing this duel. So as you already seen, we did about 1 or 2 videos. So this might be the 3rd or 4th. I don't remember. Like I said, I'll go back and review it. But what's going on is he started with a Dark Magician Bestial, and then he put, I told him what cards to put, and he put a lot of the cards that we discussed, but he put a lot of other cards that would help the Bestial side. But I warned him that when you play competitive, like today's 2024, it's not the same like 5 years ago, where you could just like casually combo here and there. Nowadays, it's like every play you do is negated and interrupted, like every single play, 100%. So you have to play cards that have simultaneous effects, and you have to be able to keep up with your opponent. And the whole thing about it that I've been implementing to him and telling him again and again, and the whole Dark Magician community, is you have to be able to clear their board, their monsters, and their back row every single turn. No excuses, no exceptions, no crying, no complaining, just results. If you don't do that, then you're gonna have to switch your deck. So it's not being evil or mean, it's the real truth, because you're never gonna win. So if you want to win, you gotta shut off the loser mentality that the community is teaching you, that Dark Magician can never win any duels. Dark Magician sucks. Dark Magician can't win any duels. They can't win against any of the top tier decks. They can't win your locals. They can't win regionals. They can't win nationals. All that stuff. You gotta forget about all that, and you have to switch over to the boss mentality, the winner mentality, the successful mentality, and that is, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna switch up some cards, do some combos, and play through and get some results. And that's one of the things that I like about Yummy Mike. He doesn't cry, he doesn't complain. I've never heard him so far. So I'm gonna be working with him, and basically the main ratios of the cards that you have to be careful not to like go too much or too under, or the Servant, you just probably need 2, and then the Dark Magician 2. Everything else you can kind of mix and match, but all the cards have to be in combo sequence. So on his first turn, his opponent was playing Fire Kings mixed with, I believe it was Zombies. So a lot of players can't afford like the top tier version, which you have to play the Snake Eyes engine, which is like super, super expensive, and people don't think it is, but it actually is super expensive. It's a lot. It's a lot. And they actually pay it mixed with the IP. So you should already know that's for just to start, you know, just to start, I believe it's like $300. It could be more, it could be like 400, and people are like, that's too much money. Well, the SP is like 120 to like 180 by itself. And then the Diablo Star engine that they play with the Snake Eyes, that package you should already know, right? It's about one. Well, it's actually it's actually about $150 to $200. So you have to combine those two and then put them into the deck. And yeah, you're sitting about $350 to $400. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. People don't think that Jay's lying. Those cards are cheap. People always say that about me. Like they say, Jay's always lying about the prices. No, you could tell because how many of those copies have you given away? And the general public is zero. And there's a reason for that because in reality they're very expensive. Some of the cards like Bonfire and stuff like that get something started, they're like, what are they, 70, $90? The SP Little Knight, Diabell Star, all of these cards, they used to be like 18, now they're not. They're like 30, $40 a piece. So it's very expensive. So what people do is splash other engines that are more viable to them with their tax bracket, what they're making yearly, like their income, what they can afford. So because of that, it does weaken some of the decks, but it doesn't change the fact that some of these decks do still have some uh, follow up plays, and they're still broken, especially if you know how to play them. It's because a lot of these decks now, thanks to Konami, and tip of the cap to them, they're making a lot of these structure decks broken. Like structure decks are hitting YCS, regionals, and nationals. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter. That's just the truth. Trap tricks, you name it, all of them are hitting regionals and nationals. So tip of the cap to Konami for helping out the community for these budget broken decks. But okay, so let's get back to the duel. So with that having been said, the Fire King's main combo, like the main line of play, how they work, their mechanics is graveyard. If you get shut down the graveyard, it's over for them. But you can't expect to stop them any other way. The only other thing that they do is they play a lot of spells, and the spells combine with their monsters to like pop their monsters, and then they'll end up popping cards on the field. From there, they'll XYZ summon, and they'll have engines in the background, and the Fire Kings have abilities to either switch cards to the back with the Snake Eye combos, or like I said, they end up XYZ, or they can even link off. And their decks pop off pretty good. They have a lot of search power. They have a lot of special from the grave and the deck, and that's about it for the deck. So it's just a lot of spells and a special summon spam from both the graveyard, the deck onto the field, and that's pretty much it. So like I said, to stop it, like dead in its tracks, you got to stop the graveyard. If you could do that, it's an auto win. Now, if you're gonna be playing a village or anything that stops the spells, uh, good, but you're gonna have to find a way to stop your spells from being popped. So you can play a Dragoon to stop the pops, or a Dragon Knight, and it's similar to going a matchup against certain Pendulum decks, which have the same ability of popping a lot. And the other one would be obviously the broken unchanged strategy, which just pops all your cards. So as soon as you can stop the popping, the other deck that does that is Dark World, and I'm not gonna go on forever, but there's a lot of decks, and they all mainly do the same thing. They just pop all your cards, monsters, and spells, so they break through your board. So okay, so we're gonna go here through the first frame. So what happened? I am gonna put the link on this video so you can go see the actual live duel on Yummy Mike's channel. So uh, the opponent bricks because he had Fire Kings, but he mixed it and it didn't do well, so he bricked. So at this point, your Dark Mission deck is supposed to be popping off. So I am gonna be making a video separate. Remember this sequence right now. So the opponent bricked. So I'm gonna make a video of my Dark Mission deck. I'm gonna show you how powerful the Dark Mission is. I should be able to establish 4 to 6 negates and interrupts with Dragoon on the board when my opponent is bricked. So I kind of I don't agree. I actually strongly disagree with this hand that Yami Mike had. I'm not sure what happened there, but he actually semi break because all he was able to do is get a Dark Mission to his hand, circle an Eternal on the field, and Dark Mission to his hand and a Rod on the field. I completely disagree, like 100%. I totally disagree. I think it's wrong. That's like a 2020 version. And like I said, remember, this isn't an attack. It isn't an attack on anybody's way, shape, or form. It's a review, because when you go and you see a commentating on YCS, the review is not negative. It's more as what's actually there. Like if the sun is outside, you say the sun's outside there. It doesn't matter why it's there or who it offends. It's just the truth. So this is like far from being anything negative. It's just commentating on what's on the field. Like even if I didn't exist, it wouldn't matter because your own eyes show you the same thing I'm saying. So this is obviously not a viable combo for the Dark Mission deck. because when your opponent bricks, you have to have a 90 to 100% win rate. Why? Because you have no, you have, what is the word I'm looking for? You don't have anything holding you back. You're basically popping off, right? You're doing whatever you want to do, and your deck should be at 100% full power. So if you're having those issues where, like, I tell people, a lot of people tell me, like, I don't want to test at home, I want to test at locals. Well, because of that, you're going to be losing a lot because the when you want to test at locals, that means that you are not a regional and national level player. And I've told you guys this before. I do this, and so do all the national champions and national regional champions. What is it that I do that they do? Test the deck at home. So you're supposed to test the deck. That's one thing that I have in common with the first place YCS world champions, that I like to test the deck at home. So what I do is I get a pen and a paper and I write down and I do test hands. So I'll write it down and I'll do 10 test hands, and then I'll see how many of those are like a top tier play. So how much I can pop off, how many negations and interruptions I can do with my opponent not doing anything. And then after that, I start with the Dragoon on the board and then an Ash Blossom, and then I draw and I keep working and I see what I'm able to do. So when I go to locals, it's a piece of cake. I can win locals first place easily. And also the profiles that are being played online the same way. When you can only see that on my channel, right? Unless you know any other Dark Mission channel that shows you they can take a draw, you can special summon, you can play spells, right? And they can still win duels. And then also 10 negates on the board and I can still break it. Like nobody else does that. And there's a reason why, because I do a lot of testing. So I'm not waiting for that time to happen. That time is always on. So I'm always ready. And this combo is not viable for the current 2024. Definitely not. One circle, one eternal on the board with the rod is not enough. That's an auto loss. So the only reason why he got lucky was because his opponent's break. But imagine if the opponent, and this is like common, this is very common. It's not like a broken board to have about 4 negates with like 3,000 hitters and some back row. It's normal. So yeah, this specific hand can't do nothing about that. You're gonna be taking a loss. So definitely recommend, make sure, Yummy Mike, that you cut down the servants to 2, and then the circle, you can try it at 1. You might not need 2. You might just need 1, because the servants will get them back from the grave anyways. And then your deck has a lot of other splash engines, so you don't necessarily need the circle and the eternal to win all your duels. But nevertheless, he did get that. He put that on the board. The opponent passed, so a lot of the times you have to consider they might have evenly matched, or like in a B rule, a lot of hand traps. So in that case, you're gonna want to be ready to stop those cards. You're gonna want to have some combos to stop spell and trap and destruction in your back row. So he summons it, and then never forget to link off your rod. So he gets the rod, and then the opponent sets some cards because he's still what's it called? He's still breaks, so he sets the back row. He sets the back row, and he triggers the effect of Eternal to banish. He banishes Solemn Judgment. This is the correct line of play. You should never let cards set on the back activate, because when they end their turn, the cards are going to activate. They're going to be live, so they're going to be taking over. So the main idea is to always stay one turn ahead of your opponent. Shut down your opponent before he goes ahead. So tip of the cap to him there. But definitely you forgot to link off the rod, because at that moment rod should have came back to your hand, and the Artemis should have been popped off onto the graveyard, and the Dark Mission should have stayed on the field. The rod to recursion to have more cards in your hand, and then follow up play. You have to remember that. So with that, he did win. Oh, wait a minute, he hasn't won yet. He did play he played a field spell card, and I was discussing with him to being extremely careful with monsters and back row every turn. If the board, like the cards on the board, like the back row, front row, if they do nothing, then leave them. But if they're gonna do something later on the game, then yeah, don't wait. You gotta destroy them. So he does, and he plays the card that I told him to play. So Azalea, at this point, this is the weakest time to use Azalea, but it's fine if you need to use it to pop cards. But the most powerful combo of Azalea is when you have the Bestial Engine, specifically Drissworm. So it's on the field, you link it, and then Dressform will pop a monster, and then Azalea will come on the board, and it'll pop anything. It can pop your cards or his cards, back row or front row. After that, it has a third pop, because when it attacks, it triggers the effect, and it'll pop. But you have to have 3 spells in the graveyard. Good thing that you read the card and you understand what it does. When you do that, it will be destroyed if you don't have it. But I mean, at that point, all you were looking for is to pop cards on the field. But definitely Azalea, I suggest that you play it later in the duel. You're gonna see how powerful broken it is. So the combo, like I said, is Dressworm, Banish, Special, and then you're gonna link anything. Anything can link with it, as long as I believe it's a dark or a Rita Azalea. But it'll pop because of the Dressworm, and you would have special, remember? So you would have banished special, pop, and then Azalea pops again, and then it pops again, triple. And then if you're playing Twin Twisters, you could do 2 more pops, so that's 5 pops. It's big. It's a big play. It's a top tier play. So if you don't have anything to follow up with that, well, you can follow up like with the Circle or an Eternal, and banish. So it's like a Dressworm pop, Azalea double pop, and then you can do 1 or 2 pops again. You can even use Dragoon for a pop with the Circle. So you start noticing like, wow, you're doing 5 to 6, even 8 pops. And I do 8 pops in my deck. And those pops, when you see in my channel, they actually beat tier 1 and tier 0 decks. There's way too many pops going on. Dark Magician community does not know that. They don't teach that because they don't know how to play Dark Magician. But this is a very powerful combo that you can do. In this case, he just used it to pop the field, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But remember, Azalea's power is later on the duel. So we're going to be moving forward with that. So from here, he summons the Cartesia, I believe, and he triggers the effect, and he brings out the Dragoon. So to be honest with you, in the current 2024, Dragoon is not enough. So this board is not enough. Guarantee you, this is a weak board. Contrary to the popular belief, it is a weak board. But I mean, you got to work with what you have. You always have to have resources. And then also, remember, Yummy Mike, you always have to draw. You're going to want to increase a little bit of the draw power in your deck, because you should never be content with the power of the deck. You should always like make it stronger and stronger. By the time you notice, you're going to be taking your locals every freaking time you go. Guarantee you. So yeah, the Dragoon's on the board, Circle Banish. I don't know what he has face down. And it'd be great if it was like something to take a monster or stop a spell trap. It'd be great. Or draw power. And he's taking over, and he won. He won. The opponent kept bricking, and as the opponent wanted to start off popping off, Young Mike was just stopping everything. So that was great. The opponent was top decking, bricking, and nothing to do. So at that point, he did have hand traps, but it doesn't matter because Dragoon can get rid of them. And then at the same time, what is a hand trap to a Dragoon? Because the hand trap can't bring a body and beat Dragoon, right? All it can do is negate, and then Dragoon will negate it. Or even if you let the hand trap go, it doesn't matter because you have a bodies on the board. So tip of the cap to there on Young Mike. And then poor guy, you know that he break. But I mean, he won. He was supposed to. And then here's the second one. He does get drolled. He gets drolled, and line of play here, he plays this is pretty much all you can do, an Eternal, and it's a pretty good play with a Village. But the issue with playing against what's his name, I'm forgetting the name of this guy. He did play Pot of Prosperity and Servant. You can see it in the graveyard. As you have to play into the graveyard like a shifter or something, so that you can really make them brick. Like there's no follow-up plays. They have none because all the monsters are going to be banished, and then they won't be able to play anything because the spells will be locked out, right? The spells are locked out, so that would have been auto win if you would have had a way to stop the graveyard with them. But I mean, it doesn't matter. He didn't do much after that, so I'm not sure what happened there. But it could have been because of the draw. I mean, right? Draw stops a lot of people, so that makes a lot of sense. And he did bring out the Dark Magician, but he ends up beating some bodies on the board, and he pops off the back row, which is typical. But then after that, I was discussing with Yummy Mike last time he was at his locals, was a few days ago. I discussed with him of implementing the evenly matched, because evenly matched is for like when your opponent's too strong and they're starting to gain territory, you can turn the tides back, especially with this deck, Fire Kings. You don't want to destroy stuff. You can, but you don't want to destroy. You want to banish it. You want to banish it so those resources are not available anymore, and they're all gone. And then you're gonna want to pop off after that. So he did listen. Thank goodness, and he put evenly matched into the deck, and it worked out for him. So I kept telling him the 2-2-2 combo, and there you go. So he plays it, clears the whole board as banished. After that, he starts playing his bestial engine. You can see it in the graveyard, and he starts triggering effects, and he starts going for attacks. And then he does go and link up for the SP. The SP, he banishes some cards in the back, and you can see the opponent has cards face down and cards had face down in the back with the field spell. And you can see here on Yummy's mic, he's already gone through some relinquished and other cards. So he is doing some follow-up plays, and he takes the win. He actually does take the win against Vikings. So tip of the cap to him for that, and he ends up winning that one strong. So that's not all for the deck. I suggest keep working on it just a tad bit more. I believe the deck needs to have a little bit more draw power. Like I said, I strongly suggest you don't play the Prosperity, because it removes cards from your extra deck. It removes cards from your extra deck, I believe. Or I'm gonna read what it does again to make sure. But and you can only draw one card, and I disagree. In the Dark Mission, if you're gonna draw, you're gonna draw two cards. You need to draw two cards, not one. It's not good enough. But I am gonna be looking into that card to double check calling it out right for his text, because I don't play the card. I never liked it. But I mean, like I said, definitely, I'm like, you're gonna wanna, every time you draw, you're gonna wanna draw at least two cards. One is not enough, because you have to remember you're gonna be going into first place, and some of these cards are not gonna cut it. You're gonna need more and more power as you go up the ranks. So, but tip of the cap to you, you did beat Fire Kings, which almost the Dark Mission that can do, right? And even I'll admit, I played against the YCS version of it, and it does about 3 interrupts, and it does about 2 negates. And then on top of that, it has a lot of popping. A lot of popping. Even I struggle with it, I'm not going to lie. But when I put the evenly matched, a totally different story, right? Because just as you saw, you banish everything, and then you do your you establish your board backup of your recovery, and you take the win. So before we end the video, just a quick discussion on the deck. You have to remember that all the cards have to be live 100% of the time, and they have to have a low number of requirements. Like the card can say you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to go here, and you need to do there. Like the more requirements, the more dead it is. You need cards that are alive, and I'm starting to notice a big change on this deck. I'm starting to notice a big change on the follow-up plays. And I only thing that I see on the deck is you need more draw power. You need more draw power, and so that you could draw a few more cards to have more substance and more follow-up play. The other way that you can do it is you can play more searcher cards. Searcher cards, like you play a card and then it searches, like the Magnuma or Magnaha. A lot of these cards, they're searchers, so you do one thing and it does another thing, like that. Like you want to do a lot of recursion cards that let you draw and draw and draw, and then you're gonna be able to take your first place for sure. 100% sure. I have no doubts, like 0 doubts. You should be able to take your first place. And yeah, he did good. Congrats to him. And we're gonna be taking a look at the next locals that he does, but you can see the big difference now. Like the cards are doing a lot. He's doing a lot of follow-up. Even when his board gets breaking, he bounces back, and you can see definitely Dark Mission deck is working here. So we're gonna end the video with that. Congratulations to him on that big win. Definitely support him. You guys go support his channel. We're gonna continue to work together until he wins his locals, and maybe we'll have like we'll do something where we can have him come over the channel or go over his channel to just do like a collab, so we can work together, maybe like over a talk or something. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. So if you like the video, make sure you leave a like. We're gonna keep following his channel. We're gonna keep doing the review. I'm gonna keep working with him, like I said, and I'm looking forward to him winning that mystery pack. So hopefully we can get there. I strongly believe we can. Yummy Mike seems like he's a warrior. He doesn't give up. I haven't heard him cry or complain. So yep, he's gonna do it, and he has the potential because he has the bankroll. He's got the he's got the green to put any card in the deck, and that's a good thing for him. You know, a lot of people can't do that, but he's got the SP Little Knight. And I've had it, but I sold it. I have two other ones, but I have the Asian versions. But they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Like the people think they're not cheap. They're actually very, very expensive. So with that having been said, you guys, congrats again to Yummy Mike. I'm so proud of him. Dark Magician deck is doing its job. And God bless, take care, and Dark Magic Attack.